Right guys, here we go, the start of Season 6 in the Solihull Moors Career Mode series here with my National League mod here on FIFA 20. And I'm still pinching myself because I can't believe it, but we are in the Premier League. We've gone from the National League to the Premier League in 5 seasons. We've amassed an amazing squad en route there, but now it is really time to kick on. Just as a pre-warning, there'll be no Premier League action in this episode. This is just a warm-up. We're going to get into the European International Cup. It's worth the most money here out of the pre-season tournaments. And even though the board have given us more money going into the start of this season, I think it'd be prudent to try and bag some more so we can continue to develop this Solihull Moors outfit. Okay, and so the first order of business in this episode is the transfer budget, and it's a really healthy one to be quite honest. The board fronting up quite a healthy chunk of money as they know that we need to make some improvements to the squad if we're going to survive in the Premier League. And so, I talked about him in the previous episode. It looks like he's already on the move to Dortmund in real life. I've had to add him into the game as he's only just turned 17 in real life, so he wasn't included in EA's roster. But we've done it again and signed a local rival's up-and-coming player. Jude Bellingham joined Solihull Moors for £7.5 million. So with that first signing under our belt, let's get on into the pre-season tournament, bag ourselves some more money, hopefully another trophy, and really get the players pumped up for the start of the Premier League. And we're off to a bad start as we try out a new formation with just 3 at the back. And well, that's what pre-season's for, isn't it? And now I know that formation isn't for me. Bellingham carved us open like their Christmas turkey and curled one right into the top corner to go 1-0 up. But persistence pays off as midway through the first half, Marshall got sent free down the right hand channel and got a dangerous cross into the box that defender felt like he had to deal with and ended up putting it into his own net. And the turnaround was complete just before half time as Fredriksson's tenacity in midfield led to him breaking up the play, feeding Nystrom, and he turned the defender inside out before making a second one look like an absolute mug and banging the ball home. The second half was a lukewarm affair. This drag shot was probably the best opportunity from either team, and you can tell that the players were really off the pace and just getting themselves in shape for another season. Bellingham was handed his debut in the first game, and like the rest of the team, he didn't really ever get up to speed. Hopefully he'll settle in over the course of the next few months and become a regular feature of the team. Wolfsburg were up next, and boy oh boy did they have a stat lineup. Fortunately, they couldn't field their absolute best team as they had players away on international duty, but they still had room for the likes of Kimpembe and Rashica. This long range from the bolt put the scarers on Kelly early on, and he let his teammates know just what he was thinking, trying to fire them up into life. Our first goal of the game really started with this carefully weighted pass from Jude that found Lucas, who crafted an even more exquisite through ball to Nystrom, who seems to have found his form once more. Wolfsburg continued to apply the pressure though and nearly broke through before half time as this ball lofted into the box was headed from distance and Kelly, caught a little bit unawares, decided to palm it up and over. Some words of encouragement from myself during the half time break was obviously enough to fire the players up as they came out into the second half and found another gear. A cute pass from Shelby between 2 Wolfsburg players unlocked Nystrom on his way through to goal and he bagged his second. That work was undone 65 minutes in though, as Nicholson, who'd been great up until this point, lost his marker at the back post and Wolfsburg got their second of the game. and it was a bit of a scrappy affair from there on in as both teams jockeyed for position and ended up with us sharing the honours. 2-2 was the final result. We headed into the final game of the group stage in good stead, but with some tired legs out there, it would be time for some rotation against Hertha, who also look set to progress to the next round with us. We sparred with them in the opening exchanges, both teams having siders on goal, but it was Ruben who stepped up and delivered the first real blow with this great turn and even better strike. The keeper was absolutely rooted to the spot, as I think the only man in the stadium who believed he could make that shot was Ruben. So having gone into the break 1-0 up, we were found out just 10 minutes into the second half when this Hertha player scoops the ball, wrong foot Ziegler, and finds his teammate in open space so he can grab the equaliser. Ruben, brought into the team to replace Nystrom, was having absolutely none of it though. He wanted to stamp his authority on this game, and whilst he might have made the first goal, I still don't know how he got out of the cul-de-sac he'd found himself in, let alone make the space for such a great finish. Only the great form that Nystrom is in is keeping him at bay. Following a round of substitutes from both teams, we turned the screws on Hertha though, and Patterson delivered a killer ball through to Marshall, who smashed home our third. What had looked in doubt at one stage turned out to be a convincing victory and confirmed we'd be heading through to the next round of the tournament. Our next challenge would be Augsburg, who'd progressed from the other side of the tournament, and it would be a cagey start to the game. Augsburg managed to get themselves a corner 25 minutes in, and having lost his marker at the near post, Lea Seca managed to loop a header past Kelly to take the lead. And I don't know what he's done to his teammates, but they wanted absolutely nothing to do with his celebrations. Our best chance of the half came just before the half-time whistle. He got a decent shot away. 10 minutes into the second half and Thomas had to rescue us again. And just 7 minutes later, another nail went into the coffin. Surely now we were down and out. Well, I decided we wasn't going to take it lying down. And with just under half an hour on the clock, I felt we could still recover. And so I made the switch to 4-2-4. We started off brightly. Straight from the kick-off, the attitude had changed. We decided to shrug off the scoreline and just play some free-flowing football. But never did I expect such a quick goal after a tactical change. Could that prove to be the turning point in this game? The captain certainly thought so. 83 minutes in, still down by 1, we go for broke. We're rolling the dice. It's a 6, and that means 6 men into the fray. Let's go. Kept knocking on that door, but we're in time added on, and it looks like we're out. But what a blunder. The defenders gifted it to Nystrom. He plays Widrington in. It's a sloppy bit of play, but he's made his way through. And yes, Ruben has got himself a goal here, and what a time to score. There's no extra time in these pre-season tournaments though. We're straight to penalties and we're 2-1 up when Morris is stood over the ball. He looks to go bottom left, but the keeper guesses right. Thomas then makes a great save down to his left, and we're down to the last penalties before sudden death. We still hold the advantage, and it's Ruben Widrington stepping up. You couldn't write it, could you? He steps up, calm as you like, and slots it into the bottom corner. And just like that, we're off to the final. And so, we'd already played them in the earlier rounds, so we kind of knew what to expect. But this time, we have a Hertha Berlin team that has its entire squad at its disposal. And here for the first time, boys, is something I'm pretty proud of. The away kit for the 2024-25 season.
There it is. Magnum. Holy moly.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Dear God. It's beautiful.
We had to dig in hard in the first 10 minutes, but Peterson stealing the ball here in the midfield allowed us to transition quickly into a counter-attack. And he sees Shelby arriving in support, and it's played in beautifully by Nystrom to round off what was a great back-to-front move. Hertha were not taking things lying down though, and Kelly, who'd returned to the lineup, was forced to make a save here, and that was swiftly followed up with trouble from the corner as they took a couple of bites at the cherry at the near post, but we managed to put up a wall of men in front of the goal to prevent them getting on level terms. 58 minutes in and Nystrom is clear through on goal, and the defender decides to stick a leg out. No conviction in the challenge, and he's off for an early shower. And taking Bjorn out has led to a decent position for the free kick, which the Swede will take. And it's pretty sweetly struck, just not enough on it really to trouble the keeper. From that point on, it was a fairly dead game if I'm honest, as we had the lead and they only had 10 men, which meant they sat in rather than go for the equaliser. I'd have liked to have scored a few more goals, but I think we really got our season off to a great start, rotated in some of the players that might not ordinarily get a great deal of game time, and most importantly, put some extra money into the coffers. What a stunning performance from the lads throughout that pre-season tournament. Now let's go and get a few more signings over the line. And I think you know who I've got in mind first.
Jack. Jack. Jack!
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Come back. Come back.
Okay, so we aren't getting Jack. He stayed at Villa all that time, and as soon as we got interested, he decides to head off for some sun and sangria. And to think, I even went to the trouble of getting those tighter shorts on him. Anyway, let's see if we can tempt him back after a gap year in Spain. Now, whilst we might be trying to add some depth to the squad, we also have the chance to move some players on too, and whilst Brennan has made his way up to 75 overall, that injury last season kind of put him out of the picture, and despite his rating, never really felt he gives dynamic performances, like some of the other low rated players, like Peterson and Fredrickson give. So, with Sheffield United coming in with an initial offer of £14 million, I sent my assistant off to see if he could get some more cash, and they decided to stump up £17 million. So, if you were hoping to see him around for a long time, I'm afraid Brennan has gone, lads. In an effort to replace that body in the squad, I thought I'd just check out the free agents list, as you do, and this fella here looks pretty handy. Adalton is a 75 rated Brazilian centre midfielder that can play CDM or Cam too, and we've done alright in this situation before. Think back to Bueno and Volpini. So let's hope we've bagged ourselves another decent talent for just an £80,000 signing fee and 10 grand a week. Next up, we talked about potentially signing him in the last episode for some extra experience at the back. And so I've managed to nab Connor Cody for just £6.5 million as he had a release clause, which I'm sure Hamburg will be regretting. And then here's one out the left field because we haven't talked about him before, Damari Gray, a Brummie who played for the enemy for several years before switching to Leicester. He's a quick winger and should improve things for us down the left-hand side of the field. He'd moved to Bologna in this save, but we managed to get him for just £16 million, which I don't think is too bad for an 80 rated player. And so, with 4 deals done, I think we've done some great business. Added some decent players to the backbone, and hopefully that will be enough for us to survive at least the first season in the Prem, whilst the young players are still growing. Now, getting over that disappointment of not being able to sign Jack Grealish, I decided to send Johannes Magnussen and Oliver McDonald off to some FA training courses at a cost of £5 million each, and they've both returned as 3-star, 4-star scouts. I'll get them out on missions to their home countries on the first of the month to get things going, but let me know where I should send them next time in the comment section down below. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode, guys. A bit of a preamble before we get into the lion's den of the Premier League. Decent win in the pre-season tournament. 4 signings on the board. I firmly believe we have got it what it takes to avoid that relegation battle at the bottom of the league. So if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe. If you've enjoyed the episode, hit the like button. But for now, thanks for watching. Stay safe. I'm out of here.